Hey everyone, welcome to Unveiling Beauty. It is Monday evening, and Ammon and I are so excited to be with you all. Hey Ammon, how's it going?
We are indeed excited, Nick. Monday yet again. I feel like like what day is
Wasn't it just
it?
Monday?
But I do very much look forward to these unveiling beauties, and every single episode just becomes a new kind of like marker point, at least in this world where we're just sitting at home. I get like to look forward to like this is episode 10, I believe, actually. Um,
Yes.
it's been
So
fun, locked at home, but looking forward to these every time for sure.
I couldn't agree more. And today is all about braids, and we have three amazing, talented artists with us. Ammon, tell us a little bit about the artists.
So, well, you know Danielle very well, obviously, and
Of
so does the
course.
rest of the industry. So Danielle is going to be talking about something that she's very proficient in, editorial braids, and how to bring that editorial or that editorial edge, that flair to her braiding. Um, we also have Galyna. I'm not going to pronounce her last name. I'm going to let her say it three times on when she comes on because it's a tongue twister. But Galyna is really, really known for doing how to do braids on yourself. Her hands are just like magic fingers. And then we've also got a brand new design team member who I don't think many people have met, named Takeyra, that we're going to have on the show today. So action-packed show, and she's going to be talking about how to use braids and add extensions into those braids, which is actually something, Nick, that I don't know if you've ever really like learned how to do, but I've always wondered how to make it work so that it looks. I think I've made it happen, but I've never
Mhm.
really been successful in the way that I felt like, well, that looked really good. You know what I mean?
I think I completely agree with you. I think we've made it happen,
Yeah,
but I don't know if we quite did it the right
yeah.
way. So
Like
I'm excited to have someone take us through the proper way to do this.
somebody doing it properly will make us like go, oh, that's how it should look, right?
Right, totally, totally. Awesome. All right, so why don't we jump into our first guest?
All right. So without any further introduction, Naha Hairstylist of the Year, Miss Danielle Keasling. She's basically spending her entire life either on horseback or on social media live right now. Um,
So
Seriously.
true.
welcome to the show, Danielle. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good, good.
Amazing. Better now that we see you.
Aw, I miss you guys.
We
No, we
miss
miss
you
you
too.
too.
All right.
um, So, Nick, do you have any? How do we set this up with Danielle? Because there's so many things that Danielle
Yeah.
does. Like, I know that you and I were discussing like the frame up of the show, and I was like, oh my God, I have so many questions for Danielle, and so many things that I think people would like to know. But like the show could be the Danielle show if we wanted it to,
It-
I'll remind you of that when we all get back together.
yeah, oh, we know you will. No,
right?
I think the first thing for me is, I think braids are intimidating to most people. And intimidating meaning me. I'm one of those most people. And, I think for me, when I think of the braids that I can actually do that are, I would say that I could do pretty well, for me, it was just like a light switch went on and all of a sudden I was able to do it. But I don't remember a turning point of being able to do it. And then when I try to attack other types of braids, I'm all thumbs. So is there like a way to break into braids?
It's funny. For as much as I'm known for braiding, I was not a braider when I started this industry, and I didn't grow up. My mom didn't braid. I never had a braid in my hair. I like literally was like totally not like around braids, and braids were really intimidating for me, to be honest with you. And I I think the biggest word of advice is like, don't think of it as a braid. Just think of it as like step one, step two, step three. Repeat step one, step two, step three. And once I got out of my head about it's a braid,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to execute things. And to be like totally transparent, because you guys know me, and I'm always like jumping on stage, and Ammon and I always look at each other. I know this, like we always look at each other, and she's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know yet. What are you gonna do? And I think that's a mindset of challenging myself. So when Nicole reached out to me in preparation for this, I immediately was like, oh, I could go back to something that I know how to do really well. And that would be the easey thing. And then I thought, you know what, let me do something I've never done before. So I went on Instagram and I pulled up a gal, Samara's jewelry.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Like
Mhm.
she inspires me. She's got so many cool things on her Instagram. And I literally clicked on one of her tutorials as I was doing it with Miriam's hair. And I'm like, whatever, like I'll just see if I can fumble through this. And I did, and then it clicked and it was really easy for me. So it's, you know, it's one of those things where you have to challenge yourself to think outside the box and just try things, and don't think of it as like, oh, I don't braid. Like it's break it down into steps.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And for all the viewers out there that are watching, if you guys have any questions while, Danielle is going through any of this, please feel free to put it in the comments. And if you haven't already, make sure you share the link on your page so that everybody else can see all these great tips and tricks too.
Fantastic. So Danielle, braiding and like braiding, I feel like it's taken a turn, right? It's taken this place where it's gone from like 5 to 10 braids to like now all of a sudden like the trend feels like braiding with accessories is like the thing, right? Like finding ways to like use rope or twine or whatever it is that you have to kind of like accent and create different dimension to your braid. So talk a little bit about that, because I know we have some video of you challenging yourself with this new look that you learned, and kind of talk about even the technique that you used, or if you want just like in general about how accents are becoming sort of like the trend to pulse in with braids.
So I think that, everything goes from runway to reality and reality to runway. So, being able to take a inspiration and kind of push it into the direction of fashion or pull it back into the direction of commercial is really important. And so, using a braids can look very, very Pinteresty and very, commercial. So I think by using accessories and like fabrics and twines and ropes and metals, especially, you can make them pushed more editorial. So basically, I'm kind of, if you guys follow me, I'm like totally into Hobby Lobby. I should be a Hobby Lobby influencer. I definitely think I should. But so I have like, this is literally my like trunk of stuff and jewelry and twine. And when I created this braid that I watched on her Instagram, she used a really heavy duty chain. But I didn't have a really heavy duty chain and I can't go to the store right now and buy one. So I improvised with just this like gold spool.
It's so cool.
Thread, and got it. Actually, the result was a little bit of a different result because this is obviously a tighter material, and I could actually grip the hair a little bit better. So it was just interesting to see what she created. And then when I changed the fabric or changed the material that I used, I got a little bit of a different look. So it was kind of fun.
I love it. And I know right now they're able to see kind of like the technique that's going along with that, Danielle.
Oh, cool.
And so I want them to, everybody that's watching, any of these technique that you guys are seeing that we're playing or we're talking about, if you want to watch them back, please go to Danielle's Instagram or the rest of our guests' Instagram, and we'll post those so you can rewatch them again. So if you wanted to see a little bit more in depth, we'll make sure you can throw them up there, because we're going to keep going through the show. So if it comes up once and you feel like you missed something, make sure you head on over to Danielle's page so you can kind of watch it over and over again. Because I don't know about you, Nick, but like I have to watch it and then I kind of have to try it and then I have to watch it again, right? It doesn't just like
40
click the
times.
first time, right? Exactly.
And it's all verbiage, right? So like you have to, it's like a mantra. Like what I found myself when I was watching her, I literally watched her tutorial yesterday about 2 times and just repeated this mantra in my head. Cross it. Okay, bottom strand goes behind, top strand comes across. Cross it again, bottom strand goes behind, top strand comes across. And I kept repeating that in my head. That also helps with braiding. It's just, you know, actually, Nick, I think you taught me that. You were like doing a 5-strand braid, and you had it like you had like this rhyme, and I remember you telling it to me, and I was like,
I do remember now.
Actually, that might help me. Like, you know, like, and you're working it on in your head, and I think that's what braiding is. It's just being able to compartmentalize the technique and then make your mind repeat it until you actually get it. Because I fumbled with it a little bit at the beginning, and then once I got it, I was like, oh, okay. I get it. I twist, I go underneath, I cross over on top. I twist, I go underneath, I cross over on top. Easy, easy.
Totally.
So it's a little like muscle memory, right? Like anything you do, or like repetition. You just like your fingers get used to it. Am I right, Nick? Kind of the same way.
I think that's a really good way to explain it. Actually, I mean, it is muscle memory. It's getting your brain to talk to your hands.
Not always the easiest thing.
Right? So one of the questions that's coming through here, Danielle, is what products do you use in the hair before you braid? And do you use it before you curl the hair? Do you prep the hair a certain way? Is there a trick in the way you prep the hair?
So, you know, it depends on the final result, right? So I know that like if I'm doing a really organic or deconstructed braid, I might use a dry texture spray or like a powder volumizer to get some grip in there, and I can expand it and not worry about like the pieces falling out of the braid. If I'm doing something a little bit more constructed, I like to use like a creamy paste or a creamy clay, something that can spread a little bit, that doesn't get too sticky. It needs to be a little like slippery, but not too slippery, but enough to keep the flyaways intact and enough to keep the definition in. So it's kind of like same as upstyling. You have to decide if you're going to go for a ethereal, like airy look, or are you going for more of a polished and constructive look? And that's the way I would choose the material or the product that I would use for the braid.
That's the key for me, honestly, Danielle. That's right there. That sentence is like the key to your artistry. Like that's the key between like being an artist and understanding like what products to choose in the experience. Because one of the questions that I got on my feed just now was like the struggle between like when you're pluming and you're pulling out, and how to know when to stop, and how to know when too much tension, and like what products help you get there. So like I think a lot of that is just like it's experience, it's touch, it's like learning like what you're going through. So talk us through like some of the tips of what like maybe start here or don't go here or start this to kind of like set them up. Because I think some people just think you can just like pull and then next thing you know it's lopsided, or they've used a product that's too sticky. So
so especially with like bohemian or like organic braids that are you're pluming, I always say, you know, doing hair for me is kind of like a dance, right? Like you can't just get to the end and then decide you want to change it. Like you have to work with the movement that's happening at the time. So as I'm braiding, I don't just get to the end of the braid and then decide like, oh, I'm gonna like deconstruct it. Like I might do a couple swipes and then look at it and test my tension and start, you know, pluming it out then. And I think with, you know, plumed braids or organic or bohemian braids, like you don't have to grip the hair like you're doing a cornrow. You know, it should be it's almost like folding hair in on itself. Like, and if you have the nice clean sectioning, I always say start clean and then deconstruct. That's my key, because if you start messy, you're just going to get more messy. So, you know, if you're doing a nice bohemian braid or something that's going to be deconstructed, start really clean, but don't have a lot of tension, you know, and then as you're working, you're kind of maneuvering or pulling the hair apart, and you can easily do that. Now, if you're doing something that's like a cornrow or something that you have to have tension on, you know, in reality, you're not going to plume it out. Like, it's going to be a really detailed cornrow or really detailed braids. So, you know, tension and control is probably, you know, more of your focus. But anytime you're really deconstructing anything, my biggest piece of advice would be, you know, you're really folding hair on top of oneself. Like, you don't have to like put a lot of tension into it, and kind of work with the hair as it goes. Because when you get to the end, you're really stuck then, and every pull that you do affects the other hair. So if you can pull it out as you go, you're going to have a lot more room for flexibility.
I think that's incredible. And actually, I love the way that you just described the difference between like bohemian or pulled apart braids and like more tension braids. And I know I'm going to talk with banter with Nick a little bit, because I went through this really long phase where like detailed braids were like, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to do like all those detailed braids. And it was a skill that, much like I'm like passionate about mastering texture, I was like taking these little like 3 strands at a time and doing all these micro braids. Remember, Nick, and you were always like, "Oh, I can't even
forget
watch
it."
you right now.
How
I can't even
bigger
watch you
fingers
get started
do that.
with it. Yeah. But I became obsessed with it, and I think that right now there's really no rules, right? So there's like detailed braids, accent braids,
Right.
some of these pulled apart braids. It all just depends on the event and the mood. But like we always say, braids are a trend that's never going to go out of style, whether it's a tight braid or a loose braid. I have a video queued up of a collection that we did together as a pro team, Danielle, that you'll remember. It was kind of a funny collection. Nick will remember this very well, because true to Nick Stenson form, we shot it in the studio, and then he had this great idea that we should take the models out into Times Square.
I remember that night.
And I was like, Nick, we have to have permits. And he's like, let's just go, right? And so we took like a crew of 20
Saturday
people.
evening as well.
Yeah, we stopped traffic in Times Square, shot these models in Times Square. But one of these looks that I created that I'm about to throw a video to had just like, it's a minimal just cornrow accent braid that is not the main focus, but it's just like a little accent piece. And it kind of gives a nod to what you're talking about, the difference between using braids for pulling apart and using braids for control. And so right now, give us a little break. I want to toss you to that video, and you guys can visualize what that might look like in Times Square. Okay, let's watch that now. Oh, I don't know if you guys remember. Like, does that bring back
It
memories or
brings
what?
back so many fun
I know
memories.
that was just like in studio that how to, but like I cannot forget us out there in the middle of Times Square. It was so much fun.
It
I
was
Oh,
fun.
we get to do some fun stuff, don't we?
yeah.
No dull moments.
Danielle, I did have one more question that I skipped over that beforehand that I really wanted. I think it's really relevant, especially for you, because you do so much and you're such an advocate for social media platforms and sharing and for helping people share education on social media. Um, I was wondering if you thought was a good idea. Like I remember when I started working and I wanted to get better at braids, I would find an artist that I would see at hair shows regularly, and I would say, okay, teach me a new braid, and by the time I see you at the next hair show, I will have mastered that braid. So, what do you think about that kind of like a braid challenge on like social media? Like teach people braid challenges and like pass it along. Should we start something like that?
Oh my God, I would love that. I think that's what this is all about. And like I said, I was totally transparent. I challenged myself to do something outside of my comfort zone and my box. And I went on Instagram and was looking up what everyone out there is doing. So yeah, I think that's what this industry is all about. And we're stronger together as an industry. And I think that would be a great way to uplift the industry.
So good. Love that idea. Love that idea. Love having you on the show. Always a
Oh.
pleasure. I always learn so much from you, whether we're together or apart, miles and miles away. No connection. But thank you for being on with us tonight, and we miss you. We can't wait to see you very soon.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
honey. Good to see you. Thanks for
Bye.
everything.
See you
Love you
soon.
guys.
All right, Ammon. So we have another very talented artist coming on. Why don't we talk a little bit about her?
Up and coming artist. Let's see. Last year she was our Beauty Changes Lives, like next generation artist.
Yeah,
Put on a pretty epic show, if I do say so myself.
for sure.
Known very well for her braids. Very a little shy in the beginning, but I will say, has come into her own since she's been on this team, and she'll be embarrassed with that being her introduction. But she really has become, and always has been a huge asset, but like just really grown a lot over the last couple of years on this design team. And so I want to welcome Miss Galyna to the. I'm not going to say your last name, Galyna. I promise. I always try, and I just butcher it. So you can go ahead and say it for everybody right now because I feel so bad.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. How are
What's your
you?
last name, Galyna?
My last name is Poczwinski. I guess that's
Poczwinski.
how you say it.
Poczwinski.
Yeah, I got it from my husband, so.
You inherited this.
Yeah, so I'm there with you
Perfect.
guys.
She's like, I don't know how to say it either.
That's cute.
Okay, so Galyna, let's talk a little bit about you're here for braids, right? And one of the things that I think that is amazing about what you do is you have a really crazy ability to be able to do all these braids on yourself, which braiding in and of itself on another person is a skill set, but being able to do these kinds of braids on yourself is a whole nother thing. And I know we have a couple of videos that we'll be able to like run, and like people will be able to see a few of these different examples and different styles. But if I were to ask you one question about like how do you get started? If I'm somebody that's sitting at home that wants to learn and start to practice, I don't know, about mannequin or a sister that I'm quarantined with, like what are some of the basics? How could I get started? Like, because they're gonna look at your videos and be like, there's no way I can do that, right? So like how would you recommend that they baby step into being able to braid their own hair?
So for me, as Danielle mentioned before, when I was growing up, I was never a braider. I never had a braid in my hair. And not until cosmetology school, that's when I got into braids. Especially on yourself, that's very tricky. What helped me a lot is watching a lot of YouTube tutorials and just trying over and over again. Trying bigger section first, and just make sure that you have mirror in front of you and mirror behind you so you can see your back, and using the right product for support. Yeah, so definitely watching a lot of tutorials, especially how their hand position is towards the scalp and how they're holding the hair.
So, all right. What kind of products are you talking like? So, what products do you find the best?
So one of my favorite products that I love to use are dry texture sprays. The one that I used in my video, I really like that one, is the Canra Dry Texture Spray. What it does, it gives a grip to the hair, but also it absorbs all the oils from the hair, so it makes it nice and not oily, so it's easier for you to braid. And then it gives you hold and support as well.
Awesome. So, Galyna, you know, I'm looking at your videos, and obviously your hair is a little bit shorter, but you added long hair in there. Do you find that it's easier to work with putting braids in with your hair short, or do you think adding the extra hair to make it longer makes it easier?
It depends on the result that you're going for, but in my video, I wanted to have that really big and long braid. And for me, I definitely needed extensions since I don't have enough length. My hair would be way too short for that. And extensions just give you more volume and it gives you more hair, so it just looks better too. You just have to make sure you hide them really well.
That's awesome. So tell us the difference between like what are things that you've learned on social media and what has really taught you kind of the craft that you have, especially working on yourself?
So with social media, it's really amazing to have that tool so that we can learn new things and we can push ourselves to learn new things. That's how I learned all my braids, just going and to other artists' pages and watching their tutorials and just learning and pushing myself and trying and trying.
I love it. So I believe we have a video here, don't we?
Yeah, we do have a video of Galyna using her own hair that she did, which I think is good because a lot of people out there, I think, when they can see like they're watching these videos play, right, and like your hair is down to here, and then they're looking at you know, and they're like, okay, girl, like, but what about braiding your own hair? So like, I think it actually shows like how talented you are when you can not only braid this amazing long hair that looks like Elsa from Frozen, right, but you can make it work with your own hair too, because I think a lot of people, and you've admitted to me, so I'm not trying to go at you, but like you've admitted to me that you struggle with having like finer hair, that you wish had more
Oh yeah.
volume and stuff. So I would love to see this video where we can showcase that you know how to manage your own hair and make it look fantastic as well.
So cool. What do you think, Ammon?
Oh my gosh, you're just always impressive. I wish I could do that on myself. It would be kind of
You
hilarious,
should
but
add some extensions.
Right? So
Just like
Galyna,
I did.
yeah, if I remember right, there was a contest that you entered a while back on social media. Tell us about that.
Oh wow, that was like so long ago. That was way before design team. I was already working for Ulta Beauty though, and I've never met you guys. And you, Nick, posted on your social media about the competition that you post your hair picture and you get a chance to win and go to the photo shoot with the pro team. And I got so lucky and I got to win, and that's how I met you, and that just was so mind blowing. That was my ever editorial photo shoot. I got to meet all of my inspiration that I get inspired daily, and yeah, you did all those cool things, and I learned a lot, and yeah, that was the best
So
thing
fun,
ever.
right? Think about how much has happened since the time we met you,
I
the time
know.
you entered that contest, so the time you won, so then getting on the design team, becoming pregnant, having a baby, winning all these awards. I mean, like you've done so much in a short window of time.
yeah, you're on fire, girl.
Super proud of you.
She's not.
It's been a wild journey.
I would say.
I love you. You're small bit of words, always very impactful, though. That's our Galyna. We adore you. Galyna, you are such a joy. Thank you so much for sharing your skills with us today. And thank you so much for not only the post that you put together just for our show, but again, I want to remind everybody that's watching, if you're looking for a source of inspiration, please follow Galyna. I know that we're going to slide her Instagram handle up right now because she is like a nonstop source for braiding and styling and in other kinds of inspiration. Galyna, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your skills and your passion.
Thank you so much for all your kind words, and thank you for having me here.
We'll
Of
talk to you
course.
soon.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
So our next guest is another design team member, Eamon, but this design team member is brand new to the team.
Yes, she is indeed. In fact, she's so new that she joined the team just before we went on lockdown. So the poor thing
That's right.
hasn't really had the opportunity to do anything with us. So this is kind of like her debut in terms of like, as a design team member. But she blew us away at the auditions.
She did.
She is a fantastic artist, and I can't wait for you guys to all meet Takeyra. Let's bring her on right now.
Hi guys.
Takeyra, how are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you guys?
Looking
Good.
beautiful.
So good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're talking about braiding, but we're talking about your hair for a minute, right? Talk to me about this
Yeah.
beautiful hair that you have.
So with me, protective styling is like the number one thing, especially being stuck in the house for this a lot of time right now. And so I did the spring twist, which involves me using nothing but the spring twist extensions that I braid into my hair and then twist at the ends. And it's a protective style that can last me weeks at a time, and I don't have to worry about doing anything to my hair.
So tell me what you mean by that for people who are, novice to braiding. Protective style.
Mhm.
How's it protective?
So my natural hair, when you think of protective styling with a curly, really kinky curly texture, you want to be able to have styles that can help maintain your length of your hair. And so with constant manipulation, combing it out and snatching all that hair out with your hair with a comb, that's not
Yeah.
hair. It's a
You gotta
style
be
that
you gotta be
works. Yeah,
careful with that, right? Like you gotta be
right.
with that tension all the time and stuff. And I know it's really cool because and I'm gonna tease a little bit of because we have an episode coming up, Nick, that I know you know about.
Yep.
So I don't want to steal too much thunder from it, but I want to wet everybody's whistle just
Right.
enough that they want to turn into that too, because we have an episode that's literally just about protective styles. Because there's so many men, women out there that have hair types that protective styles are not only essential, but they're on trend, right? They're
That's right.
cool. They look
Right.
cool, but they're also a way to make sure that you're taking good care of your hair and your scalp, because natural texture, natural curls, they're all, it's no longer a trend. It is a thing that's not going away, and people are celebrating it. But in order to do so, you have to make sure that you're protecting your hair in the in between. And so, why not do it with these cool looking hairstyles like Takeyra's got right now, right?
Totally agree.
Right.
So, Takeyra, the question I have for you, based on kind of like that vibe, is today's about braiding. And when I look at your
Mhm.
hair right now, it
Yep.
looks as though it's twisted. So do you consider that like a two-strand twist, or is it actually a braid that you then manipulate into a twist, or what's the
Right.
difference? Like, because I've just describe it to somebody who maybe doesn't have any experience with putting in hair like yours.
Right. Well, technically, twist braids kind of all fall under the same umbrella. With this particular style, I did start it off with like a regular three braid, like a box braid with extensions, and then did manipulate it into a two-strand twist towards the ends to get the style.
Cool. And I feel like we have a video that's going to be able to show that a little bit in more detail,
Yep.
huh? Okay, so before I throw it to that video, though, I do have one quick question for you, because
Okay.
I just want to put you on the spot a little bit, and I want to
Hmm.
know what it feels like for you, because we had a lot of people, we had a lot of interest from people in the industry, within the outside of the Ulta family, within the Ulta
Right.
family that wanted to be part of this growing design team, and so from a large number of applicants to a small people that made that team, and you being one of those small group of people, how does it feel to be a new design team member, and what are you looking forward to most once we actually do something as a design
Right.
team?
It feels great. Honestly, I was really just speechless when I got the call saying that I got on. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't really know what to say, but I'm really excited because being an influencer for this industry has been one of my top priorities of what I wanted to do besides being behind a chair and being given this opportunity. I just can't wait to get my hands dirty, honestly.
Good
Well, we
deal.
can't
Good.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get her out there, right? Well, so listen, I wanted to,
Yeah.
since we teased a little bit about, you took the time so graciously to actually do a video that shows the difference of how you actually put that hair in, which was for me like one of those light bulb moments, because I'd always wondered how to do it. And
Right.
so I want to throw that video, and hopefully it'll blow some other minds too.
Okay.
So good. What a great job you did on this video. I have to admit, I might have cheated and watched this video a little earlier in the day. And I was like geeked out watching it because I totally learned something new today, and that made me
Right.
so happy. But now,
That's awesome.
tell me, how long does something like this take to actually achieve from start to finish? For those people wondering,
Start to
like,
finish.
how much time do I need to block in my book to do this on a guest?
Right. Like, do you do it
It
in
could,
shifts or what? Like, yeah.
yeah, I definitely did it in shifts. I kind of cheated with this particular style because like I did the individual box braids mainly just around the hairline. So that took me no longer than like maybe 2, 3 hours. And then in the middle, I actually just cornrowed my hair down and then did more of a crochet. So pre-making the twist in advance and then just crocheting it onto my braids. So if I do want to like take my hair down, shampoo it, and redo it all over again, it'll take me no longer than like 2-3 hours.
Takeyra, we have a whole new episode now. We got to talk about that.
I know, right? The word that comes to my mind is patience. I have so much patience, so this will be amazing for me to try one day.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe you, Nick. So
Need the patience, definitely.
Right?
You will learn,
a good
Takeyra.
2 movies. That's all you need. There's 2 movies in front of you while you do it.
Perfect. I love it.
Takeyra, thank you so much. I cannot wait because I can tell, obviously, just by that we've only scratched the surface of what the knowledge that you're going to be able to bring. And I know that you will be able to bring lots of more ideas when it comes to protective styles. It's like this cornrow crochet thing you just threw at me. I'm like, I want more,
Yeah.
which is what I'm hoping that the audience members are also thinking. Like, wait, when's this crochet thing happening next? I think that that's going to be a good little lead-in. Gold star for a new design team member for bringing it up to the next episode. Very well done. So thank you so much for joining us today, and for what you will be doing for us, because I have no idea that I have no doubt, Nick and I don't have any doubt that you are going to be a front runner for us. We believe in you. We're so proud to have you part of the Ulta Beauty family. And when all this lifts and we're back in action, we can't wait to put you in the front lines, girl.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Alrighty.
So, Ammon, so many cool things. I mean, if you think about it, we started with editorial hair with Danielle, and then we moved into Galyna doing cool braids on herself, and then finished with highly textured hair with Takeyra. Like, so many different ways to really weave in and out cool texture and cool braids, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I will. I'm just going to call you out on the fact that you said tequila and not Takeyra, because I think you're jonesing for some tequila.
I did not say tequila. If I did, it's my brain going, go pour yourself a tequila.
He's like, let's get this episode finished because I think there's tequila coming.
Takeyra, if I did that, I really apologize. And I was actually just going to have wine tonight. I wasn't even going to do tequila, but now I might have to do tequila.
I'm like, did he just say tequila? Okay.
Happy Monday. You never know what's going to come out of this mouth.
Well, you know what? What's coming next? I think what happened is you were thinking about the next episode that's coming, because Tequila will be on the next episode. And so you went ahead and you merged Takeyra and tequila and you made tequila. So our next episode is going to be Texture Talk with Tequila Riley. She may or may not have tequila. That's up for question. David Lopez and our very own Bianca Donahue. So all about texture. That's going to be like one of many episodes featuring texture, because as you can imagine, in our dedication at Ulta Beauty to really earning our place into that texture segment is going to take more than just one big splash episode. So we're going to dip our toes in, do it the right way, and you guys won't want to miss it on Wednesday.
That's awesome.
Right?
Well, thank you everyone for watching tonight. I hope you had a good laugh like we did. We will be back on Wednesday with tequila. And you know what? I might have a tequila in my hand.
I think you should. I think
it might go even better if I have a tequila in my hand. The other night, Michael, Sean Corby, and I had a tequila while we chatted, and it was a lot of fun. So I might do it on Wednesday night. I'm just saying. But for now, enjoy your Monday evening. Wishing you all the best, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you all. See you later.